question is, who is your teacher? Because he thought I was a student. Right? And it's funny to think about that, but when I explained to him, one, I'm not a student, I'm a parent, and I told him the scenario and what happened, he said, oh, I told him don't say anything to you, so I guess he ran back and told you. My head I had a bobblehead because, I did one of the sister girl things. No. And I told him, and this man was big, like, I don't know, 6 something. I'm a shorty anyway. But anyway, I was standing just as tall as him. And I told him, I said, let me tell you something. I said, you ever tell my child, don't tell me something. If something, don't you ever tell him that. Ever. Like ever in your life. Don't you ever tell him that. I said, don't you tell any of these other kids not to tell their parents something. They want to tell their parents something. They can tell their parents something. I said, now I came to you to have a conversation about what happened, not about what you told him. Because see, I didn't know, because it would have been a whole different deal had my son said, well, he told me not to say anything to you. So he knew better than to tell me that. But I'm saying that for 2 reasons. One, to kind of move into our next step about being an active parent. When you're active, people kind of know you already. And I personally believe that your child is treated differently when you're active. Now, every parent, you can't be at every PTA meeting. Some parents just don't have it where they can do that. But you can definitely be active, asking for information. You want to be able to show up at open house or some of the evening type of activities. You want to let the teacher know, like, I'm trying to be a partner in this, if whether your child is struggling or even if they're doing well. Just because your child is doing well academically does not mean that everything is all good at school. So I want to be, and I'll kind of pitch it to you about that. What have you seen, in your prior experience and even now, that's been a true benefit of parents being active in their child's school?
One thing that I definitely see as a benefit is, like you said, it's not that they kind of get treated differently, I would say. And it's because they know, like, hey, so-and-so's mom, if we don't get this taken care of, now we have to hear from the parents. And the last thing a busy teacher or principal needs is someone's parent, coming like, hey, this is going on. Like, to them, I won't say it's an inconvenience, but if they can prevent it from happening, it's kind of like, I already know that so-and-so's mom is going to be in our butts about this situation. Let's keep her informed. Let's keep her in the loop. Let's nip this in the bud. Let's cover all our bases, make sure this situation is under control, and, make sure the child is okay, no matter what it is, whether it be grades or behavior, they're going to make sure that you're involved. Whereas if the parent is not as involved, they don't always take it as serious, I would say.
Yeah, it's like in the corporate structure, right? Like, if nobody knows, right? If the employee, for example, is not a complainer, and they just take crap, you just keep doing it. But the biggest thing to me, I think about being active, like Tabia said, is not only do they think twice, right, about some things that happen, but being active allows you to build a relationship with the teachers, and it allows you to build a relationship with the administration. Because at the end of the day, besides prison, school is the only place that your child gotta go. You know what I'm saying? It's the only place that a person absolutely has to go. It is compulsory. You cannot just take your child out and decide that they're not going. So you have to really think about the gravity of that, and don't you want to play an active role? So Mario, I know that you have been around educators. You have a lot of educators in your church. Could you share with us some perspectives that you've heard, even from the educator standpoint, about active parents and benefits, and also maybe some pros, maybe some cons, right, of parents being very active?
Well, I think that it's important to have the active parent be balanced. It can't just be you show up when you want to raise hell about something. Mm-hmm. You need to show up when things are going well. You need to engage with all of their teachers in a positive manner. The teacher, you got to think about how many size classrooms there are. We got to think about how many students they see on a daily basis. And so we have to be sensitive. I think most parents are, but there are so many parents who aren't sensitive to the teacher's perspective. And I think that it's important to really balance that out, that, you know, your child is not having one-on-one with the teacher every single day. There are 22 other students, if not more, in this classroom. The other thing that parents need to realize is that the behavior at school oftentimes is not the same behavior at home. And so that teacher is with them more hours than you are. So they may be privy to a lot of behaviors and things that they're doing. And you got to be able to recognize the fact that not all teachers are the enemy of your children. So you really have to balance that out and build that relationship so that they can be truthful with you about what they're seeing while you're at work, because they are privy to a lot of behaviors that you simply do not see at home. You're talking about 7 or 8 hours. Then, of course, you have the extracurricular activities, and they're being influenced by their peers. So when they're at home with you, you really don't know all of that. So you have to build that trusted relationship that that teacher can call you or email you with truth, and you not be offended because they're emailing you or contacting you with truth. So the balancing act is to be there, sure, when you need to address problematic areas, but also to be open that these teachers also may have seen something that you're uncomfortable hearing. And even if it's uncomfortable, you got to recognize it. So you just can't be that parent that's just that fireball that runs up there with doing all the hell raising. You know what I mean? Or I've seen this scenario, and this is a problematic area. Johnny is not performing well in school, in his math class, but you say he's smart. Well, he may be smart in some areas, but he may not be smart in other areas. And a lot of parents get real touchy when you say, well, you know, he's not doing that well. You have to be open to recognize that they're really partnering with you to see what can we do to do better. They need your input on how, you know, and again, keeping in mind, remember, there are 22 other students in here besides your Johnny that they've also got to work with. And so I think it's just a lot of sensitivity on both parts, because I believe they're horrible teachers. They're great teachers. They are powerful teachers. They're great parents, but everybody has a space where we can do better in trying to cooperate with each other to get the job done.